Good evening, guys. Warm welcome to the program. Today we are going to have episode number 4. Earlier we have seen on basic introduction of warehouse management, then continued with the role of warehouse executive or a manager, and we have started with the one of the important warehouse process receiving. In this session, we are going to see the next process in the warehouse activity, which is known as the picking, one of the important activity in the warehouse, especially if one is working in manual labor environment, then the accuracy requirement can be compromised unless you have lot of productive measures. So let me attach the screen. Meanwhile, this program is live only in YouTube. If you have any doubts or question, you are always welcome to type in the chat box if you need any doubts or clarification. So today we are going to see the task pick preparation, which is one of the important activity in the warehouse. Assuming that the item has been received from the vendor and the quality inspection, GRN, everything is made. Now it has been moved to the location. The next step will be to prepare for picking. Okay, it is most costly activity in warehouse, especially in the e-commerce environment. This is one of the critical process because one has to pick the right pot, the right quantity, and pack it in a right way. Unless the picking is proper, the customer will not get the required product and the required quantity. And in Indian environment especially, this is labor intensive, and possibly in this area you cannot use unskilled labor. Possibly you have to use some skilled labor, or you have to provide at least semi or automatic or some automation assisted type of picking arrangement. Of course, we will see some of those arrangement, what are those available currently, which are not expensive. Okay, and also sometimes it is challenging to automate, especially when these items in a B2B environment, or if this warehouse is attached to a manufacturing plant. Not all these items are barcoded or attached with the RFID. These could be loose items. In such case, you cannot automate entirely, so it has to be done manually. Okay, and expected to happen with some amount of error. In e-commerce operation, it will be totally different because those are all finished product, packed, and most of this item will have barcode and or RFID. So in such environment, you can expect a higher accuracy. Whereas if you are dealing with the warehouse which is attached to a manufacturing facility, then you cannot expect this kind of arrangement. Of course, there can be some barcoding may be available, but not at the component level, but at the packet level. Assume a packet has 100 units, and you may have to pick only 10 units. Then there will be some technical issue how you are going to handle this, and it is going to directly impact the customer service. If you are sending the wrong item or wrong quantity, it is going to influence the customer service. And what kind of error you can expect in this operation could be omitting items from the order. Many times the order could consist of more than one item. I have seen sometime it could be even 50 line item or 100 line item if it is in a B2B environment. So if you are omitting some item, then it's going to be a problem. Second one, important one, is picking the wrong item. This is where the skilled labor may be required in this situation, because they have to identify the SKU in the correct location and pick the item. Picking wrong number of items, this was one more technical problem, especially in engineering industry, B2B environment. Maybe I have seen in many situations some part we have to pick 12 numbers, some on 56 number. Then that involves some time to count the item, and you do not have currently a proper counting equipment, so it has to be manually done. So picking the wrong item could be a big problem. Coming to the trade-off in picking, there is three things we have to keep in mind: speed, cost, and accuracy. And you cannot sacrifice one on behalf of other. All these three has to go together on how to manage things. And the expectation from the customer as well as the management is quick response time, high accuracy, high productivity, but at least cost. So you can see a big conflicting statement, but that is the function of a warehouse executive to see a balance among all this and ensure that the customer is satisfied. And best in class for picking, this is based on my experience. Percentage of order picked accurately, it's possible, especially in e-commerce environment where it is more of automated and not manual, and also more skilled worker. I have seen graduates or engineers are working in this kind of operation where you can expect 99.9. And you can also see the figure median and laggards. In any case, it will not be lower than 98%. But in manufacturing environment, achieving this level is highly impossible. That's where you can see the next area. The best in class, even attaining 99% is also very difficult. But of course, you can see the laggards are achieving 84%, and such thing may not be acceptable in e-commerce environment. But we have a lot of other technical issue when we speak in a manufacturing environment. The warehouse may be handling 1 lakh SKU, but without having any barcode or RFID. In such a situation, things will be really difficult, and we have to see how to manage this kind of condition. Coming to the preparation, so even before you arrange to pick up, as per the study, less than 15% of SKU assigned the most efficient location. So we need to some basic analysis even before you put the item in the location. Okay, so this is where some kind of analytics will help you to do analysis. Possibly we will use ABC or Pareto analysis. We will see in the coming slides how to do that. And before laying out a warehouse, this is required. Otherwise we will have to have lot of compromise. We have to decide on most appropriate material handling equipment. So whether are we speaking about an item which is 10 grams or 10 kg, the handling will be different for each of this item. Which form of picking to introduce? There are many methods of picking available, so we will see in the coming slides what are those picking. Full ABC analysis of stock movement and stock held. Here we are not talking ABC analysis with respect to inventory management. Here we are going to see in terms of either FSN analysis or fast moving, slow moving analysis, or this ABC we were going to use it to provide a clear layout positioning. Okay. And for ABC, the basis is Pareto's laws. I think many of you are aware. Pareto is a scientist, and he has invented. Maybe this is a concept 200 years ago, and they told that 20% of the people control 80% of the wealth in the universe. Okay, and that continued, and we continue to apply to many other areas, and we find that it is more or less accurate. And it is not essential that it should be exactly 80% or 20%. or only two category, it may be three category also like ABC. You can see most of the companies, this is the more or less it will match to this. 80% of the sales comes from 20% of the product. 80% of the sales is coming from 20% of the customers. 80% profit from 20% of the product. 80% of cube usage within a warehouse comes from 20% of the product. 80% of inventory value from 20% of the product. Here we need to analyze this without proper analysis, and also this work has to be done even before you form the warehouse layout. Okay. Then you will be able to identify what are the highest selling products, slow moving, non moving products. Of course, this can be based on previous sales history. Okay, based on that, you can get some analysis. If it is a new warehouse where there is no sales in history, then you have to go as per the sales promotion there. Coming to the layout, picking area layout should be based on number of pick pace visit, not only on the sales figure. So you should know how many orders are coming and how many times the picker is visiting this pick location. So this analysis is important. Maybe if you go as per the value, it may be different because the number of pick visits may be less in that case. Then we should also know the size, weight, and eye security requirement also must be considered. So in this aspect, we are using some kind of a ABC categorization. We also use a double ABC categorization where we are going to combine two factors into one. Here, the factors what is referred is volume and frequency. One is how much volume we are trying to pick and how much frequently we are picking. So you can see in this image on y-axis you have low sales to high sales and low frequency to high frequency. If you see the top left corner, we are talking about AA, which means high sales and high frequency. And on the other end, if you come to the other extreme end, we are talking about low sales and low frequency. So our focus should be on high sales and high frequency. And if you talk about low sales and low frequency, this need not be given priority in case of warehouse designing. Maybe such item can be kept at a remote place or even top of a rack, whereas this AA item has to be given higher priority. If you see balance item, it is in between. It is between high priority and low priority item. So this kind of categorization cannot immediately happen. Okay, this is based on some data, sales data of the previous years. Normally 2 to 3 years data should be available, and then you can do this analysis. And this has to be done. Mainly, if you take any e-commerce platform, they will do this kind of analysis, not a single ABC analysis. This is called double ABC categorization based on volume and frequency, and accordingly classify. Even if you have 1 lakh item, you have to classify them, and accordingly you have to provide the necessary arrangement. There may be some special consideration. Maybe you have to also see the service level required. If you take Amazon, they say if you are a prime customer, delivery will be 2 days, whereas other regular customer it can be up to 4 to 5 days. In B2B environment, we also fix the service level. We don't give 100% service level to all customers. Maybe we start from 90% or 95%, and accordingly the arrangement this has to be considered. And next important activity could be stock ordering method and frequency. You should know what methods we are going to use and how frequently we are going to order and get this item. Stock counting frequency. Here we are talking about physical stock accuracy, which is going to influence our service level. In manufacturing environment, even having SKU wise stock accuracy, physical to system accuracy, if we have more than 80%, it is fine. But in e-commerce environment, you cannot play around like that. It should be more than 99%. So the stock should be counted frequently. Possibly we are referring to cycle counting here, and it has to be frequently updated, because many times you might have observed when you have ordered a particular item, most of the time it means the stock is there and you are going to get the item. No time you will get a request from them saying this item is not available in the stock, and this is where more of a automation or item capturing devices are used, and it is possible in such environment where all item are packed and they are having a barcode, that may be possible. But the idea is you should have higher frequency of stock counting and ensure that system and physical stock are a higher level. If any one of you watching live this program, you are always welcome to chat if you have any doubts or clarification. And also this can come when you have better relationship developed along with customer and supplier. So there is one more important concept called slotting. So where which item you are going to keep in the warehouse? There are a lot of areas in the warehouse. Maybe there is a main gangway or pathway, then intermediate areas and something at the rear or back end. Okay. And also if you are using a rack, maybe several layers are there. So are you going to keep in the bottom layer, mid layer or top layer? So this is what is called slotting. And once again, you have to decide what kind of bins you are going to keep in the rack, whether it's going to be a carton or a plastic bin like what you are seeing in the screen, because this is required to calculate optimum location for product, reduce amount of travel time for pickers. That's also important, because it should be once again it also depends upon how frequently the picker wants this item. Place fast moving products near to the dispatch. Okay, normally fast moving products are kept near the dispatch or sometimes even near the receiving area. And also place items that frequently ship together near to each other. Okay, many times nut and bolts you cannot use without other thing. Maybe in industrial environment, male and female parts are there which we keep together. Okay, such arrangement has to be considered in slotting. Determine how many and what size of pick pace is required for some of the fast moving item. Even you can have multiple pick paces, because you should not allow any picker to wait because that area is congested. You can have multiple pick paces. That's what is given here. Very fast moving requires multiple paces, and you have to consider the seasonality. Okay, some time a certain item may move very fast, whereas other period they may not move fast. In such situation, you have to also frequently change such item. You can reduce the number of pick paces or take this pick pass to a remote location. Any winter products will have a higher requirement during winter or pre-winter season. Other season they may not be required. So the layout and slotting should also be dynamic. By profiling the activity of items and orders received, determine which pick methods to use, how much space to allocate, and therefore where and how to store the product. Okay, so this is slightly of a engineering. If you are a warehouse executive or manager, it is more relevant. And if you are applying for a job in multinational organization or e-commerce platform, you should know this analysis. Okay, unless you know this analysis, you may not be able to convince in the interview. Okay, coming to the basic ABC, I think most of you may be aware a simple way of doing it. Earlier we saw double ABC categorization, that's for a different purpose. Here we are seeing for a different purpose. You know, in this table it clearly gives product code, annual demand, pick list frequency, weighted volume, weighted percentage, cumulative weighted percentage. So accordingly, you are going to see here the first two item roughly 80% is the cumulative weighted percentage, which becomes the A category, and you can see B category another two item, whereas balance becomes C category. And if you are handling thousands of items, it could be the top 20%, and not even 20%, 10% may become A category, another 20 to 30% may become B category, and balance will be C category. So you need to do this analysis, whether you have 100 or 1 lakh item, this analysis is required. Based on this, the layout can be prepared. So you can see a sample idea where you can keep the A items, B item, and C item. Here we are talking about the dispatch. You can see the vehicles at the bottom. So what does it say is all the A class items should be near to dispatch, and the second priority is given to B, whereas C is given the last priority. So you can see there are a lot of preparation activities required even before you design the layout. You need some all this data, then only you can efficiently perform this action. So here the ABC is based, we are using ABC for different purpose. Of course, in inventory we use it for different, but here we are using it for positioning the item. Okay, you can see A is given a top priority and is close to the dispatch area. You need to do some order analysis. Okay, without order analysis, this cannot happen automatically. Somebody will, it's not going to give this data. Lines per order examines how many different product codes makes up an order, and accordingly how many peak closing location to visit for each order. You should know this. Are we capturing? It should be available. If you know we have a order, and if you have a ERP system, then you can download the report and find out. Maybe you can take a sample I have given here. You have different family group, and this kind of analysis can be made. Of course, you don't find this kind of instruction in any other books or even any other training program globally. You can see here we can find out number of order, number of units, number of SKU family wise, and units per order, units per SKU, and SKU per order. You can make this type of analysis. This is called order analysis. Then we can also do pick pace analysis. Okay, here you can see the example of pick pace analysis. For example, product code, unit picked per day, equivalent cotton pick, average number of visits to pick pace per day, cotton per flow rack location, minimum number of location. So finally, we can decide the number of location based on this analysis. Of course, I am doubtful many of the organization they may not capture this kind of a data. In such situation, what you have to do is you have to start today and capture this data for the next 6 months or 1 year, even before you implement any change. Possibly, if you are a improvement or a Kaizen team, this is one of the important activity. Where the many areas the problem is data is not captured. If you don't have previous data, then you have to start the capturing today. At least do it for next 3 months, 6 months, and do this analysis. Then you will know how many pick pace may be required per SKU, and then decide professionally. Okay, I have seen many organizations they decide unprofessionally. They give one pick pace for all the items that is not going to work. Okay, you have to do this analysis and warehouse peak area layout, pick list sequence as per the most effective route. Whenever a picker is going to pick the item, a picking list is prepared in the system, and this list of items should be sequenced in such a way that the route is the most effective route. Heaviest items are picked first. Of course, these are some guidelines based on my experience and also based on standard benchmarking process. The picker should be able to pick from the both sides in the aisles. Okay, instead of racks, aisles are numbered. That's a good practice. Okay, you can see an example here. A picker is entering in the lane one. Okay, so you can also see instead of rack being numbered here, the pathway is being numbered as 01, 02, 03, 04. So when the picker is entering, he is going to pick sequentially both on left and right side. First he is going to pick 6 and now next he is going to 11. Then coming to the next pathway 2 and picking 28, going to the pathway 3 and picking. This continues. Okay, there should not be no crisscross. Of course, this is not the only way of a picker route. There are various methods. This has to be designed. Okay. Also, similar software should support based on the locations and the order condition. It should form the effective or easiest way of picking. Pick area layout shortcuts are programmed into the system to minimize the travel. So, like a vehicle route optimization, here we can also do route optimization for the picker. This could be one of the analytical tasks. The picker end up as closest to the dispatch area as possible. Multiple pick location for most popular item need to be set up to avoid congestion. Okay, no picker should wait or having too many pickers in a narrow range is also dangerous and not allowed. So this is the reason why we should have multiple pick paces. Okay, to continue this, sometimes a manual intervention may be required. For example, picker takes 30 cartons from the pick base and a further 30 from reserve space to complete a single order of 60 carton as suggested by WMS, which works out on the principle of emptying pick base first. But this is not a better way. The better way is to go directly to the reserve space and pick all the 60, because here the picker has to go to two locations. So we need to write some code in WMS to alter it. Of course, we will see what is WMS in the coming slide. If during the item or order profiling, we see families of certain items regularly appear on order together and fulfill a large percentage of these orders, it may be cost effective to establish separate area for this product. Okay, you may also see the logic whenever you are opening Amazon or any other e-commerce platform. It may suggest a combination if you select one particular item. It may say the other items ordered in combo, or you may they may also suggest some discount if you are ordering combo. But in warehouse, as we were seeing earlier, we have to take welfare of the picker, because this is the area where there can be dust, noise, and safety related issue, because there are a lot of vehicle running around, and also we are loading the item in the racks. Okay, and also picking is a labor intensive operation. Unless you don't provide him with a proper material handling equipment, he may become exhausted quickly, and that could be the reason for many labor turnout. And this is happening, I am watching it. If you don't provide proper equipment, it is too much of a labor. So we should also have a most appropriate method of picking. What we have seen earlier is only one way of picking. It should not crisscross, and also it should not put more load on the picker. Safe and comfortable material handling equipment should be provided to the picker. Ergonomically designed storage module, workstation, and equipment. Ergonomic in the sense you should keep the item at a reachable height. All the fast moving item, okay, maybe heavier item you can keep it at the floor level. You should not allow the picker to bend frequently. That can be a big problem, and this has to be done, must be planned whenever you are designing slotting location. These ideas should be taken care. Coming to warehouse automation, of course, in India, except e-commerce platform, nobody is willing to take this risk because all these are capital intensive. Okay, be prepared to have labor instead of this automation. Of course, if you take the major players in the e-commerce, either Amazon or Walmart, they have the robots doing all this activity. In fact, a very huge warehouse, maybe million square feet area, is handled only by three or four employees, but it is totally automated. You can see a kind of mini robo in the picture which is handling the item over it, and you can program this in the system. So these robots move to the location, pick the item, and come back to the location. In fact, Amazon is happy to tell that they have so many robots instead of manpower. They also specify that I have so many robots operating in their warehouse. Maybe I am not sure in India they use these robots, but they have to use some kind of automation. Possibly in India they may be using lot of conveyors and different picking arrangement. You can see one different kind of a robo which is going to travel over the racks, either to place the item or pick the item, and a large warehouse can be operated in this way. It's going to a particular location and then pick this particular bin and come to the picker, and picker may take some item and he may scan it and then return this item. All this like a robo, you can command it, get this item, get this from this location. Of course, here it is going to get the bin. It's not going to pick anything out of the bin. That may become a additional activity. Also, I have seen some areas the robots, high level robots are used, especially in packing or palletizing, or also other way you can use these robots for depalletizing or unpacking. Okay, but the operations has to be on a large scale. Otherwise, investing on this kind of a thing will not work out. Maybe I have seen many of Indian organizations. They may have some kind of a conveyor which is going to be fine. That is one of the material handling. Instead of robots, you will have a conveyor along with the sorting system. So it goes to the respective station where they are going to further process it. And there are also various ways of item that can be picked, especially if you need high accuracy of picking, then you need some added IT tools or automation. What you see in the second picture below is a pick to light. Okay, the location, the picker is not going to carry any picking list, so he is going to walk inside the pathway. Wherever light is on, he is going to go to that location. He will see a indicator. It is going to tell you pick this item two numbers or three numbers. So he is going to pick that item and press a button. Then he has to go to the next area where there is one more light is on, and he is going to take such a item and continue. Here, this is more accurate than the manual picking. Here, it's all some kind of a okay. He knows, okay, next I have to go there, and the quantity is there. So, the way of committing mistake may be less here. This method, the it will not allow the picker to commit the mistake, and also more better way to do it is pick by voice. Okay, here also once again manually the picker is not going to go along with the picking list. Here he is going to the pathway. Then you will get a computerized instruction: go to this location, pick this part number, this quantity. Then maybe if you confirm this work is done, it's going to tell the next location, and accordingly the picking happens. In fact, this practice improves the picking accuracy, and always if you need higher accuracy of picking, this is very important. Of course, we will see these are methods in our next session in some more details. And mostly I have seen this conveyors becomes more cost economic when you want to move the item for a long distance, especially if you have a very huge warehouse. This can be used. Coming to WMS, this is a warehouse management system, especially if you have a huge warehouse with, say, more than 1 lakh SKUs. Then you need a special IT tool. The regular ERP may not work. This can be either standalone software or integrated with any ERP. This is a powerful IT tool, and it can do lot of activities. The basic one is by using this WMS, you can have random storage location. You know, many of the warehouses we have a fixed warehouse location, and whether item is there or not there, or whether full bin is there or off the bin is there, we are going to occupy the item. But when you have a random storage location, you can just keep this item wherever there is a space, and that can be supported by this IT tool. And you can save nearly 50% of the warehouse space. Okay, but you need to invest money for that. So normally small warehouses may not afford, but when you want higher accuracy, higher speed of operation, and you want to save the space, then this IT tool may be required. Okay, and there is also a possibility you can integrate with your ERP, and this can also schedule the people for a work, or it can also prepare a pick list, and also you can do some basic inventory check by using this tool. But you have to be careful. In India, 90% of the organization does not have this, but if they need higher accuracy, this tool may be required. So, any of you watching live, if you have any questions, you are welcome to type in the chat, or if you are watching offline, you can comment so that we can reach it to you. So the idea is for the executive. Here we are not talking about non-executive level. I am doing this program for a executive level, and possibly to a manager level, because these are all productivity related issues in a warehouse. Unless you handle it carefully, you will be under pressure. Okay, and you will not be able to reach the required customer service level. So we are going to see each of such a process, and what are the activity involved, what are the benchmark process, how you can do this activity in a more effective way in this and coming session. If you like this episode, please like and share, and also watch the coming programs. I am trying to do these episodes weekly twice. Please watch out the time, and it is always beneficial to watch the live program. Thanks for watching. Bye.